Joining us right now is Louisiana State Education Superintendent, Mr. John White. Hey, Mr. John, how are you today?
I'm good, Robert. How are you?
We saw the story on Friday. We had the story Friday. Governor Edwards calling for, was it 7? Be prepared, he says, to every state agency for possible budget cuts across the board in the 7 to 10% range. Did you see this coming? Did this kind of hit you out of the blue? How are you taking that news?
Well, I think it's become, unfortunately, a fairly normal thing for our governmental agencies, including our school systems, to have to endure financial hardship. But I will say this, too. You can't let up on our mission, which is to serve the children of this state, even as budget times are tight.
How do schools do it again? Schools have been hit so hard and so hard. What's going to have to be the plan?
Well, one thing I'm very proud of is that this legislature and our State Board of Education have not cut K-12 education in our public schools. And while we want a more robust funding plan while schools are on shaky ground, no question, our legislature and our State Board have not cut public schools, which is a great thing. We need that level of stability if we're going to follow through and deliver on the promise to ensure a life future for every child. And I'm going to be up in Bossier tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock talking about the new federal law, the Every Student Succeeds Act, about that issue, high expectations for Louisiana's kids and what we do to make sure that every kid has the life choices that they want to make.
Speaking of that, Louisiana, especially this part of the state, as you know, is a very red, a very conservative and Republican area. And you're coming to town, and I don't know if trying to sell this is the right word, but there's going to be a lot of people in this part of the state who look at that as more government intervention, federal government intervention. Do you look at it that way?
Well, the federal government doesn't have a plan in this case for Louisiana. They have a requirement that Louisiana have a plan. And by all means, Louisiana should determine what's best for Louisiana's kids. That means we've got decisions to make about what our expectations are for our children. Is it just a high school diploma? Is it just a basic reading ability? Or should we have higher skills? And should we have something more than a high school diploma as the expectation for our children? Those are the kind of decisions that I'm going to be talking about tomorrow at Bossier Parish Community College at 5 o'clock. And it's the kind of thing that we need to dialogue about over the course of the next year. We are having a dialogue with our state. Tomorrow's conversation is one of them about how high should the expectations for our children and our state, decisions made by us in Louisiana, how high should they be? Okay,
so you're the number one guy. You're in the Captain Kirk chair. How high should those expectations be?
Well, my view is we should have an expectation that whatever level of literacy, math skills, science, and social studies knowledge that our kids have, it should be one that puts them in a position to determine what's best for their future. That does not mean a 4-year college for every young man and woman, although certainly if that's their choice, that's a road they should be able to go down. It could mean a community college. It could mean going right into the workplace. But it needs to be a 21st century expectation, meaning a wage that helps provide in today's day and age for our young people when they grow up so that they can take care of their kids and their family right here at home in Louisiana.
Education Superintendent John White. We've heard from some of the congressional candidates, one or two of the Senate candidates. When we asked them point blank, should the education department of the federal government be abolished? And some of them have said yes. Well, how would you weigh in on that?
As I said before, I don't get involved in these federal issues. I'm concerned with Louisiana's kids. We've got more than 800,000 kids in our public and non-public schools, and we've got all the ability that we need to take care of those kids ourselves. If we have high expectations, and when kids are going off the rails, when schools are going off the rails, we are ready to intervene and make sure that we keep them on track, then we right home at Louisiana can do what's right for them. That's what we're talking about tomorrow night, 5 p.m. at Bossier Parish Community College, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
That's what I want to ask you. The meeting's at 5 at BIPC, and who do you want to show up? You want parents, teachers, students? Who do you want there?
We're having a statewide conversation about our kids and about their future and how Louisiana's plan under this new law will help guide that future. That means educators, it means parents, and yes, it means students and community members should be out ready to talk about that issue with me. I'm looking forward to it.
Mr. John, in your own mind, and this is sort of pertinent to the meeting tomorrow evening, You know as well as I do, there's a lot of students, a lot of kids coming out of high school. I don't want to say not college material, but college just isn't for them. So I guess my question would be, in your mind, are the days of, for lack of a better term, trade school, are those days done? Is that 20th century stuff that's outdated?
No, I don't think so. In fact, one of the most important things that we work on every day is a program called Jumpstart. And look, you go over to Bipsy, you go to the new Career Center in Bossier, you go to the Minden Community College, you go to the Caddo Career Center. You know, these are some of the finest facilities in our state, and they're getting kids ready for college. But it's not only for four-year college, it's for two-year college, and it's for workforce training programs. We don't need a path through a four-year university for every young man and woman, although that's a good path. We need a path to prosperity for every young man and woman, and that can mean coding, it can mean welding, it can mean nursing, just like it can be lawyering and doctoring. All of those are paths to prosperity, but it has to be a job for every young man and woman so they can take care of their kids when they grow up right here at home in our state.
You brought up exactly what I was thinking, right here at home. But we have tops being trimmed to 44% in the spring. Do you fear, like a lot of educators, that this is going to lead to more of our kids leaving the state to go to colleges out of state?
I fear for the prosperity of the next generation, absolutely. And you asked me at the start of this, can we expect schools to do this and that on budget concerns? Yes, I have that concern. But I'm even more concerned about the cuts to families. I'm concerned about the cuts to families, so they have to take out greater loans to pay for their children, their young men and women, to get through college. I'm concerned about child care, which over the course of the last 8 to 9 years has been cut dramatically so that working families are having a harder time getting to work because they don't have a place where their children can be taken care of adequately over the course of the day. That cut concerns me, too. And I think that as we pay heed to the cuts to school systems and to colleges, we need to pay even more attention to the cuts to families. And TOPS is one of those things. It's deeply concerning. I'm looking forward to solutions in the future.